Whoa, look at here. We've got our president-elect, Gordy Robinson, all the way from Scotland. Hey, Gordy, how are you? Unmute yourself. You can talk. It's all good. Don't.
Yep, hang on. We lost him.
I know. Our technical crew has muted you again.
Just muted me.
I know. He doesn't want you to be there.
Send him to the gulag. Right.
So that we
Hi, everyone.
A little bit. There we are. There's Gordy. Everybody say hello to Gordy.
Hi, everyone.
Glad you could join us. What's happening in Scotland today? What's the weather like?
It looks like today is summer. It's just we decided today was the day, I think. But I'm sure you're getting better weather than we are, and I hope you're all enjoying. I think this is your first in person for quite a while. Second, first.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working it.
It's great.
Second.
Are you seeing any of the fumes from the volcano drifting your way?
Let me look. No, but there's a big black cloud, so summer might be cancelled already.
Oh, is that right? Okay, cool.
But no, welcome to everyone that's there in Texas and the folk here on Zoom. And for those of you that this is your first NMRA meeting, I think there might be a couple of people out in the audience, particularly Mr. and Mrs. Martin. If you're there, then welcome, and I hope you enjoy the meeting and the program for the afternoon or the morning. In your case, it's afternoon for me.
Is Mr. Crumpton? Have we got Jeff and Melissa here yet?
No.
They're not here yet. So, but thanks, Gordy. Appreciate you recognizing them. That was nice of you.
We can give them a plug again later. You just let me know that they're here.
I can do that. Are you going to stick around for the meeting for a while?
I'll be around for a wee while. Then I need to just go make dinner between meetings. I've got 14 hours of NMRA meetings.
How's Angus today?
Magnus, he's very well.
Magnus, excuse me.
Magnus, he's been saying hi to the Aussies. This is my 2 week.
I left off the M.
Yeah.
There you go.
The children are away with their grandparents just now.
Okay.
And Annabelle has a wooden train set all over the house just to cause me to kill myself every time I go to the bathroom. So.
Okay. Well, watch out for that. Okay. Take care, man. I'm gonna get back over here to everybody else. So thanks for being here. Let's see. I want to welcome everybody. Glad you're here. I see that we've got a pretty good crowd here today, and more people are filtering in. Glad to see some folks that we haven't seen for a while. It's great to have you here and join the meeting. So I know that it's nice for us to get back to face-to-face stuff, and it's really a delight to see everybody's smiling faces. Faces anyway. So yeah, thanks, Dwayne. We got some quick announcements that I want to go over, and then I'm going to give you an update on some stuff. Upcoming train shows: Plano Event Center, October 2nd and 3rd. Division 1 is handling the organization of the NMRA meeting for that particular event. In the fall, we always split it up. Division 3 does the January show. Division 1 does the fall show. Our own Mr. Daryl Cowles, where he's over here somewhere. I just saw him. Mr. Cowles, there's Daryl. Daryl, if you would say hello to everybody. That way you'll go to speak.
Well, hello to everybody. Yeah, we're going to need some staff to man the NMRA booth. So Mike will be sending out a little letter with my contact information on that. If you could work a shift at the NMRA booth there at the train show, that would be great. It's a very important thing that we introduce a lot of people to NMRA. Some of them are families. Working on it. Are we not getting me?
Yeah, we're.
Okay. But introduce some of these families to our organization and the way to learn model railroading the best.
Very good. So I'll be sending out a email to everybody, and Daryl will probably echo that we need volunteers to help do things at the NMRA booth. So if you would, please raise your hand and sign up for that. We also are gonna need to be putting some clinics together. I think Cole Rash has already voluntold that he's gonna be doing, but y'all caught that, didn't you? That he's gonna be doing a clinic on deep water core, like he did for us a couple of weeks, last month. And this time it's not gonna leak everywhere at the Plano Event Center. So we're gonna, right, Paul?
No promises.
No promises on the leaking, promise on the clinic, right? So, we appreciate that, but we're gonna need one more clinic, to do that, so if somebody's got something in their hip pocket that they wanna do, by the way, that will get you, Dwayne.
Volunteer points.
Thank you, or author points if you have a handout. So that's it. Mark this on your calendar, January 15th and 16th is the January show. This flyer courtesy of Steel Kramer in Oklahoma City. Thank you, Steve. See, and you thought I was just gonna throw it in the trash, didn't
I knew where you got that.
September 18th and 19th, 2021, Temple Model Train Show. This show was held last year during COVID, and people say that it was outstanding. And there was a lot of good stuff down there and a lot of people buying stuff. So if you've not made that particular trip down to Temple, by the way, this is where we're gonna be joining the regional board of directors meeting a little bit later. They're meeting today in Temple. So we're gonna log into their meeting, and let you guys watch the LSR board have their, front and frivolity a little bit later, so you can see what's going on with the board meeting. So that's going on a little bit later. That's right.
We gotta work on your definition of fun.
Yeah, I know. Fun, you know, hot fun in the summertime, whatever you want to do, all kinds of.
There's no T-bird involved, it's already gone.
Is that what it is? Okay, so, Austin is having a train show in August. And later on, 2 weeks from now, right down the street at the Forest Hill, Convention Center, Event Center, whatever they call it over here off of Wichita, is the RPM, the Railroad Prototype Modelers Meet. They're having a one-day thing on Saturday. I would urge you to be there. These guys are really phenomenal with the modeling that they do. So you want to stop in, see that. There's got clinics. They've got great models. There's going to be vendors there selling products. I'm going to be there doing 3D printing stuff and handing out 3D printing freebies like I always do. Speaking of, this is a tub full of little spatulas. There's 3 or 4 different types of spatulas. We give these away at train shows. If you would like to have one, please step up and get one at the intermission. And you can take those home with you. And they're free. So we have buckets of these at the company. We give them away. Yes, Mr. Corley.
The RPM show, is that one scale or all scale?
Well, those guys typically model in HO, but there's going to be all scale stuff there. So, yeah. So don't let your scale limit you from coming to the event. Okay. There is an admission. I don't know what the admission is, but how much? $20. So yeah, you want to come to that particular event. It'll be worth it. Let's see. If you're a visitor, please, or a newbie that hasn't been here before, please raise your hand. Brian, shut your. Okay. If you would, sir, you are.
I'm Jeff Cornelius.
Oh, hey, Jeff.
Hey, I'm the guy that had the cuticle clip for Jeff.
Yes. Yes. Okay, great. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you model, what scale you model in, how long you've been modeling, etc. You can leave off the part about the first train set being a Lionel around the Christmas tree. You can jump past that part.
I'll skip the 50s and 70s, got started again in the 80s, modeled primarily in HO. I'm modeling an area in Virginia where we had clean nature railroads. Norfolk and Western, which is, I'm modeling my wife's hometown of Stewart's Craft. The Chesapeake and Ohio ran east to west, modeling eventually Waynesboro and Stanton, two independent cities in Augusta County. And the Baltimore and Ohio had a branch line until about 1942 that ran from up at near Hagerstown to West Roanoke. And then they pulled up the tracks, but they're still big stone.
What scale do you model in?
81. HO scale.
HO scale?
I've got
and-
a little bit of
And just a little bit about Jeff. You've been an NMRA member in how many different cities and regions?
Well, Virginia, Louisiana, which is part of this overall region.
Yeah, the LSR, right.
And now I live in Burleson.
And you moved here when?
Around September.
Great. What's your experience been since you got to Division I?
You do great Zoom meetings.
Well, that's all we've had since you've been here, so I guess we'll take that. Yes, okay, keep going.
And I made the last Plano show, and most of the time I operated the test track correctly, except when I had one switch set the wrong way in.
Perfect.
Failed the test.
Thanks for being here, Jeff. We're glad you're a part of Division I. Thanks for being here.
That'd be good.
Who else? Yes, sir.
Steve Gretke, I'm from Arlington. Like you, I've not messed around with trains years and years ago and got out. I just got back into my HO about 4 years ago, still got a lot to learn. I messed with stuff that you guys probably never had in your house. That's old man tubes. Old metal.
Yeah.
Pacifics. Always just like the cabs, the pilots, the zingers, and so I changed all that, add in a lot of cow scale, skin motor. Still mess with that, and I'm interested in the Fort Worth and Denver and passenger operation.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here. Welcome. Welcome. I'd like for you guys to give a warm welcome to a friend of mine, a young man that I've known since he was like this much or smaller. Actually, my wife made a quilt, a baby quilt for him whenever he was born. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And I've known his family for 20 plus years. But anyway, he's up here from Baton Rouge. He comes in during the summertime. He looks to be possibly a transplanted Texan soon after he graduates from LSU next year. Please welcome Peyton Callender. He's doing an engineering internship in Fort Worth. And Jay Waters, you need to meet this guy. Okay? Because he almost went to A&M, but he stayed at home and drove down the street, which I can understand. But you need to meet this guy. I understand, yeah. Driving down the street or going to A&M, which pretty even balance, right? I get it, okay. Jay is vice president of an engineering firm in Dallas, so y'all need to meet each other, okay? I'm just saying. Yeah, Clarence, it just, some things are left unsaid, just let it float there, Clarence, okay? At this time, I'd like to recognize and thank Mr. David Crumpton for the use of the building today. David is right here, and I'll let him say a couple of things about the Texas Western.
Thanks, everybody. First of all, Jeff, Steve, this is your first time to the Texas Western Model Railroad Club. Welcome. This is our home. We spend a lot of time up here, a lot of fun times, so we're glad you're able to come to the division meeting, but we're even more excited to show you what we're doing here on our layout. It's a work in progress. As my wife says many times, a railroad layout is never finished. And I think that's the truth. So, that's a pretty smart woman. So anyway, welcome to the Texas Western. We're glad you're here. It's just great to have the doors back open and have everybody come and be here face to face. And for those of you that are on the Zoom meeting, we're glad you're on the Zoom meeting. Max, so far we've got 32 living bodies in the club.
David, how many we got in our Zoom?
9.
9 in there, so we're over 40 again, guys.
I think our record here before COVID, we'd hit 46 live in person.
And I think that number's going to grow
It
in
will.
the next few
It
months.
will.
So yeah, it's going to happen.
But
So.
just thank you for being here.
So we lost some momentum during COVID, but oh, by the way, is the Texas Western open for membership?
Yes. Great.
I didn't know if they had memberships open or not.
Yes, we are accepting new members. If you'd like more information, please see me after the meeting, and I'll be glad to give you whatever grand tour you need, as well as talk to you about what's entailed in becoming a member. Yes, we're accepting new members.
Just thought I'd throw that out there as a bomb there.
Thank you, Mike.
I'd like to call on Dick Brannon for a treasurer's report real quick.
I don't know how to be real quick. We finished last month with about $4,400 in the bank, $43.98, I think. But also, I want to talk about.
We'd probably have more if Crandon didn't keep buying electronic video equipment.
But I want to talk about something else. In March and April, it became apparent that we didn't have a real robust accounting system or way to track the money as well as we like. So I want to recognize Joe Lysing, who spent a lot of time setting up account balances, or accounts, balance sheets, income statements, things like that. So now we have a real, a professional CPA type accounting system. It's easy to track the money, things like that. So it just gives us a little more robust system. So Joe, thank you very much for all your hard work.
I mean, we've got a chart of accounts now that is as good as any set of books that any company's got. And Joe took it upon himself to go retroactive to day one when we opened the bank account and started doing things and a little bit different in Division I whenever I was elected here, and he went all the way back and got everything brought forward. Everything's accounted for to the penny, and that's the way he did it. I mean, he doesn't let a penny slip by. So
I mean, it's 4 years of
4 years of stuff,
checks
yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
that we went through.
Yeah, so he did a great job. Thanks,
A
Joe.
lot of time
We
and effort
appreciate it.
into it. The other thing that became apparent when we went through this is that the bylaws, we're on a fiscal calendar that runs from October to September the following year. And the system we set up is on a calendar year. So I'd like to propose that we switch our accounting calendar to the regular calendar year from the fiscal year.
Motion's been made that we switch our, yes, sir. Second, thank you, appreciate that. A motion's been made, hello, Mr. Rowe, thanks for joining us, good to see you. A motion's been made that we change our accounting books from calendar year October to calendar year January 1, closing on our fiscal year to match the calendar year. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we've had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. You guys can make those changes accordingly. Thanks for doing that. Let's see. I'd like to turn the floor over to Mr. Dwayne Richardson, and I think he's got something he wants to talk about the AP program and pass out some awards.
We had a fantastic month last month. We submitted 13 certificates to national. All were approved. And I'm looking around to see who we we got in here if I'm missing anybody. First off, let's start off with Mr. Crumpton, front and center.
Woo!
Mr. Crumpton earned his electrical.
Stat shots, Mr. Hager. Just a minute, he's pulling it out. That's our newsletter editor. David does a great job on our newsletter, guys.
Amen.
Dean Ferris, do we have Dean with us today? I didn't think I saw him back there anywhere. How about Greg McComas? Did Greg slip in? All right, I'll give you a quickie on these. They both earned their Golden Spike. Greg earned Scenery, Electrical, and Chief Dispatcher.
Wow.
This is kind of stuff I've been talking about, y'all. If you've got a working railroad at your house, you've probably got 3 or 4 of them already and don't even know it. We were able to do a lot of these. In fact, we did all of these over Zoom meetings. A lot of it can be done now remotely like that. Model building ones, unless the thing is just phenomenally good, it's really best to wait and do them in person because they've got some pretty tight guidelines around those. And even then, it requires some in-person verifications. So we're holding off on doing motive power and structures and rolling stock until meetings like this where we can do them or come over to your house and verify them there or whatever. But the rest of the stuff can be done remotely. For things like scenery, you almost have to do that either remotely or have somebody come over because obviously you're not going to hack the railroad and bring it over here. But to add to it, Dean earned his chief dispatcher and his scenery and his golden spike. I'll try not to drop these to the floor. So do yourself a favor, look around at your room, see what you've got done, and give me a call and look through. Yes.
How many of you guys are actively participating in the achievement program right now? Please raise your hands.
Yeah.
Please raise your hands, keep them up. We have something for you.
And have a certificate.
You have a certificate that you've earned, yeah.
Does Golden Spike count?
Yes. Nice little holdout from the days when everybody collected patches.
You can put them on your official railroad jacket. Those are the days gone by, aren't they? Your railroad geek vest.
And there's another one when you get your MMR. This. Working on close enough. That's it.
Mr. Crumpton, how many certificates you have?
This is my second. I've got scenery and electrical.
And Golden Spike.
And Golden Spike.
Okay, and how far away are you from receiving other stuff?
Let me take care of this real quick. Hold on. Jeff and Melissa are here.
I thought so. Gordy? Hugh Gordy.
Hey, everyone.
Okay,
Hey,
Gordy,
so-
back to speaker view. Up at the top of where you are, right there. Now go to, if you hover up, there you go, jump up the top. Keep going, one more time, other way. There you go, right there. The one single thing, there you go. Now I think if you switch over to Gordy. Gordy, say something, please.
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I don't know what's going on here, guys. There you are.
I'm here.
There we go. That's much better. And you still go side by side. There we go. Jeff Martin, please raise your hand. And Melissa, stand up, please. This is the president of the National Model Railroad Association from Scotland. Okay?
Hi.
And he wants to tell you how appreciative he is that you think you have renewing your membership. Gordy?
I am, and I'm coming to you live from a 3.5 square mile island in the middle of the North Atlantic, off the north coast of Scotland. And I just want to say a big welcome to yourselves, to both you, Jeff and Melissa, to welcome you to your first division meet. I hope it's the first of many, and I hope you really enjoy being a member of our organization. So thank you.
Yeah. Good to
Thanks,
have you
Gordy.
here, Jeff.
Thanks, Gordy.
I'm sorry, Mike,
For what?
for interrupting when you were asking me the questions about the certificates. I had to get,
I kinda had a-
folks CC.
I kind of had a cue as to what was going on. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Let's see. Anybody have anything for show and tell other than Dwayne Richardson right now? You do, raise your hand. Yes, sir.
I brought a couple of items that have been donated that are on the table. There is a train master looking for a new engine house.
Okay.
It's a dummy unit, and you can have a engine house for it. You may have it.
What railroad?
It's Santa Fe.
Santa Fe, okay.
I'm not a professional.
We don't have any Santa Fe modelers in here, do we? I just thought I'd throw it out
I'm
there.
not a professional in Santa Fe. I don't know if they had them or not.
What scale is that? HO scale. Sit down and shut up, David. Okay, he's an N scale.
I also brought a little packet of RP88 wheels, which I do not use.
Okay, perfect.
I brought a Katy Pasture train to run after the meeting.
Wonderful, That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, because after the meeting, it's an open run session every Saturday every Saturday after the meeting at the Texas Western. So bring your trains, bring them out here, run as long as you want, and as many times as you want. I have it on good authority that the entire railroad is operational now, top and bottom, up and down through the helix. So that's a huge step in the right direction, right, Johnny? So they got that going this past weekend, or this past week, and so I'm anxious to see trains running top and bottom and everything else. You're going to start seeing a lot of progress on this railroad back here, guys, and seeing more people running trains, more scenery coming in, all that kind of stuff. So I encourage you to participate there as well. Let's see. Anybody else for show and tell other than Dwayne? Cole.
Product Campbell Ridge that I know super detailed with granite line, nothing but castings and.
How many MBWs on there?
There's 548 extra parts on it with the nut and bolt castings and the Turno 87 tiles and railroad spikes.
Some people are insane, aren't they, folks?
I really question my insanity on that.
That's what I said. Yeah, you lose it quickly.
But we
All
have
right.
to admire your patience.
Did you bring any paperwork so that could be reviewed?
Yes.
Wonderful. So we're going to be doing some judging after the meeting. I'm in expecting. So wonderful. Congratulations, Cole. Dwayne? Oh, anybody else besides Cole? Yes, sir.
I just brought along my Fits Any Place, a demonstrator.
Oh, good. Yeah. If you'll put it on the table back there so that people can look at it after the meeting, then that'd be a good thing to do. And thanks, Jeff. We appreciate that. Okay. Anybody else? Dwayne, you've got the floor.
Cool. Yeah, start working on bridges. It's amazing how fast the extra detail parts add up. That's actually how I discovered the value of negative tweezers, was putting in MBWs. And it got to the point where I was keeping track of how many MBWs I was using, and I also kept track of how many of them shot out of the tweezers I had been using or were lost on the floor somewhere. And it's like 1,768 on the trestle and 12 that ended up in the carpet somewhere. So yeah, they add up fast. Last month, when we were here, Jerry Fussell asked me about building a kit for the club and gave me this one. It's a American Model Builders laser kit for their grain elevator. It builds up very nice. There are a couple of small design flaws, but nothing that's insurmountable. He wanted it weathered, but not my usual degree of filthy and run down. But this was put together. We did some custom sign work. He and Clarence and I talked together on the phone and across text messaging and things. And we found a piece of clip art that we liked, and it had different lettering on it than the town that they were wanting. So I brought that into Photoshop and cloned out the lettering on the original, dropped that into CorelDRAW, and added the lettering for Hughes Springs Feeds, and printed that off. Now, one of the things I do when I'm doing sign work like this is I want it on a laser printer, So you don't have to worry about, if you do an inkjet, you start getting things wet with weathering and stuff like that, you'll reactivate the ink and it turns it into a mess. So I want it laser printed, and got that done, and I printed off an entire sheet and then started playing around with different weathering powders and things like that.
If I
Until
don't
I
have
got
a
the
laser
look that I
printer,
like.
what's my option?
Go to Kinko's or Office Depot or something like that, which is what I ended up doing.
Thank you.
So I took the sign after I got the one that I liked, cut it out, got it all trimmed up, and then turned it upside down and used a 80 grit coarse emery board and started from the middle out and sanded it. Sand, lift, move, sand, lift, move. Don't do this because you'll wrinkle it and tear it. But started at the middle and sanded until you could just start to get to see the ink showing through from the back side of the paper. And when you get it down that thin, it's basically tissue paper. And you can't actually print this. If you've got a laser printer at the house, you can't actually print on tissue paper. I've seen where some of them, if the feed's not that sensitive, you can tape it to a regular piece of copy paper and feed it through. But if you sand the back of it, you can get it to settle down in all the little nooks and crannies. Like this is clapboard siding. It's settled down into all the details there. Went back in after that. The building's dry brushed with craft paint for a red oxide color that he wanted. And then basically it's all kit materials. From there, it's the kit roofing and everything. I do, however, think there should be a constitutional amendment outlawing peel and stick. It's a waste of time and money. So we may have some trim here we'll have to re-glue down, but other than that, it's a really smooth build. It's a great size structure for just about any layout because this is all the back to front space you really need. And that's always the trick. I mean, building kits and stuff myself and put them out there, it's always a trick to design something that looks good without a lot of front to back depth. You can go side to side on a model railroad all you want because we have a lot of that kind of space. What we don't have is this. So this is a really nice, good size structure without swallowing up a lot of space. You can put a lot of detail around it. The one thing that I thought was kind of cool with it, in the kit, there is a color print showing some of the ways that they build out their finished model. And in this photograph right here, they show you a picture of a little yard office kind of thing, but then tell you that's not included. It's a separate kit. You need to go buy that one too. What they did do, however, was when they put the sheets into the laser to cut the walls out, instead of just taking the walls and putting them in the box, they put it in sheet and all. And what I found was there was enough clapboard siding left in there that I dropped it in the laser, cut some openings for doors and windows, and then cut out some doors and windows for it, and scratch built a little yard office to go along with it with the matching clapboard. So it'll have a little outbuilding that can sit, at the front of it there and put on the layout. It's going to live right around the corner over here in the first end over here on the bottom level. So you'll be seeing a lot of it as time goes along. Any questions? Let me know.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Let's see. We still have copies of the John Winfield print, signed and numbered here, that with the division is using as a fundraiser. These prints right here, signed and numbered, are $25 each, and for a Winfield, that's a steal, especially for signed and numbered. If you would like to have one, please come see me. We've got extras. Everyone has picked up their signed and numbered that were pre-ordered, that were on the special order, the $35 print. And so we've now got the $25 ones, which is a different edition of it. And so we can sell those to you here at the meeting. So if you're interested, please come see me in just a few minutes. Updates on a couple other things. The Tulsa Union Convention in October. If you haven't registered, please do so. They had to expand the block of rooms at the hotel, the Embassy Suites there, because they were already filled up with the number that they had previously set aside. It's my understanding. Whenever I called up there, there weren't any rooms available. It may have just been me, but they have now got more rooms available, so make your reservations. The last day for early registration is the end of this month. July 1, the registration fee increases, so don't procrastinate. Go ahead and get your registration made and get in there so that you can save a little money. Yes, sir.
If we registered for the first one, are we still registered for the new one?
You'd have to contact the organizers and ask that question. I don't know the answer. but I would contact the organizers and find out.
We are, but I just wanted to
Just, I don't know.
contact.
I don't know the answer. I would think you are too, but I would confirm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? That is the second Saturday of October is the last day of the convention. So our October meeting is gonna have to be pushed and relocated until the first week. No, that's the Plano show. Third week, which will conflict with, the Division III meeting. So, unfortunately, we've got that problem. August, we're gonna have to change our meeting, to the first week of August. Because it's not officially known yet, but I will tell you that, we have a very exciting guest coming to Fort Worth. 2014, the big boy's making a stop in Fort Worth and will be on display here in Fort Worth on Saturday, the 14th. It's arriving, write this down, it's arriving from Denton. It's gonna be making a stop in Denton for 30 minutes on Friday the 13th. It will then depart Denton and arrive in Fort Worth via Roanoke, Keller, Watauga, coming down the Choctaw Sub, and it arrives in Fort Worth at 16:30. It appears that yours truly has been pegged to help the public relations and community affairs people put together volunteers to help with security in and around the locomotive during its visit in Fort Worth from Friday night till Sunday morning when it departs. If you would like to be involved and to have an opportunity to be up close and personal with the largest steam locomotive in the world, please contact our volunteer coordinator, Mr. Dennis Wright. Dennis, can you handle that for me?
Let me give this a thought.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah,
Just let Dennis know he's gonna put together a list of volunteers, and he'll pass that on to me, and then we'll work out scheduling accordingly, okay? So, if anybody show of hands interested in possibly doing that? Yeah, I thought so. So, yeah, jump on that bandwagon. Speaking of volunteering, Dennis is also putting together the list for the volunteers for the 2023 convention. We're gonna start having meetings and organization meetings for that. The first step is to have a meeting for the executive management team, which is myself, Donna Orr, Dwayne Richardson, and Jeff Palmer. Then we're gonna start filtering down to the individual committees and start having meetings there. We'll probably have one every quarter, and then a year out, we'll start having them monthly. But that's where we stand on that. A lot of good stuff happening on for the 23 convention. I don't want to go into it right now and bore you, but it's going to be a blowout, folks. It's going to be huge. And sir, I will tell you this part. My involvement with 4014 and this trip to Fort Worth is setting the stage for me to try to get them to come down for the NMRA convention in 23. So it's kind of dovetailing together. And that's where this is all kind of leading for. So we're really excited about stuff for 23. You're going to start seeing more and more advertising about it. Last night, this is a timetable flyer that I put together for the timetable for the Rails by the Bay and for the St. Louis convention next year. We already got that. We've already started seeing advertising for the convention on NMRAX. If you've been watching that, you've seen our stuff on that. The Australian convention is running our promos. We've got 4 commercials, if you will, promos, whatever. One for 30 second, We've got them for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and 90 seconds that are running in a rotation during all of those online events for right now. So we've got a lot of good stuff. Please contact Dennis Wright locally, or if you're anywhere else and you want to help, Dennis and Gerald Mabry are working on that. So if you're tuning in to our YouTube channel and you're out there, you want to help with the 23 convention, we welcome the volunteers when we need it. So Mike, if you have, I know you talked to me about volunteering, make sure you're on Dennis's list if you would. Okay, perfect, thank you. Let's see. Yes, sir.
Did you select the date for August, or are you still contemplating it? Select the date for the Division I meeting.
First weekend, first Saturday.
Okay.
And I'm glad you recycled that, Steele, because July, next month, we are having, believe it or not, the long-awaited flat car clinic. All right? You'll be seeing an email going out from Mr. Lysing on a tool list of what you need to bring to be prepared to build your scratch-built flat cars. Now, Dwayne is going to teach us not only how to build flat cars, but how to morph that flat car into other cars. And when you get through with this clinic, you will have had the opportunity to be exposed to everything you need to be able to finish your car's AP certificate. Correct, Dwayne?
Correct.
Okay. So become prepared. If you haven't pre-registered and bought all of your, or paid the money for your supplies, then on our webpage, right, Mr. Corley, there is a list of materials that you can gather and accumulate yourself, because this all started 1.5 years ago. It's when we started taking names and numbers of people that are doing this and collecting money. Now we've got everything, and if you weren't a part of that original group, you can do so and still participate in the clinic by buying your own stuff. So there's a materials list on the website, cowcatcherdivision.org. Go out there. We'll take anybody that wants to be in the building. That starts next month, and then we'll finish that up. The second part of it is on the first weekend of August.
August 7th.
August 7th. Thank you, Jeff. So, any questions about that? All right. Final thing before we get to our clinician, who's joining us from Washington State, I believe, all the way.
Correct.
But, sir?
Correct.
Thank you.
Seattle, Washington.
That's the voice of God coming in and telling you that. Yeah. Everybody pull out their raffle ticket. Mr. Crumpton.
Yes, sir.
I need tickets.
You need tickets.
I need the bucket of tickets.
You need the bucket of tickets.
Bucket of tickets.
Did anybody not get a ticket when they came in? Let me know.
Did you get the lucky ticket? Did you get the lucky ticket?
I did. I got the one that I'm
All
supposed
right.
to keep.
I'm gonna reach out and pull the first one, and then after that, the person who won the winner of this one pulls the next ticket, etc. You can go sit down. No, I know you're talking. No. Last three numbers, 887. Who is 887? There you are. Oh, wow. Come on up. Come on up, Jeff.
Unless I'm reading it.
Now, I bet you're reading it right.
Which is a distinct possibility.
You're the only one that raised their hand, so we don't have a conflict there. Okay, so this is your first division meeting, and you have no idea what fixed happened, right?
Exactly.
Wonderful! Oh my God! So we have 3 boxes here, right? Okay? And this is like, let's make a deal. All right? Except, okay, there are 3 different prize amounts in box 1, 2, and 3. There is also a dud in there, in one of the 3 boxes. All right? So which box would you like, 1, 2, or 3? Number 2. Now, we have a special giveaway today. Would you like to risk your choice of door number 2 for the special giveaway?
No, I'll stay.
Just stand right where you are. Okay,
Oh, good sign.
that's a good sign. It doesn't rattle. So, you have won a $15 gift certificate to Discount Model Trains.
Wow, that's cool.
Congratulations. Everything, okay? Don't go anywhere. You gotta draw a ticket. You draw for the next winner.
Oh, okay.
Don't look. Look away. There you go. Okay, drop it back in. Drop it back in. Shake it up.
Hey, that was mine.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. Now pull another one. Don't look. Just, there you go. Now we've got this totally blind. There you go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You should have just taken your glasses off. Last 3 numbers. 865.
Oh, that's mine.
Dwayne, step on up.
He knows.
Ticket verification, please. I am not allowing you to do it just because you say it's yours. I want to see a ticket.
I don't blame you, I would too.
All right.
I wouldn't trust me.
865. 1, 2, or the special prize.
You're a step 2.
Oh, I mean, pardon me. 1, 3, or special prize.
I could never live with myself if I went with Earnhardt Senior, so give me 1.
Okay, number 1.
Rattle, come on.
And Dwayne receives no duds. All right. There's no duds. And a $5 gift certificate to Discount Model Train. There you go. All right. Dwayne, please draw. We hold it up here so that people vertically challenged can. Yeah. Okay. And the number is 876. There you are. Come on up.
Way to go, Kathy.
Kathy, come join us. There she comes. All right, 876. And Kathy wants number 3 or the special prize. Number 3. We know it doesn't rattle. A $10 gift certificate, Discount Model Train. All right. And we need to draw. Don't look, don't look, don't look. There you go. And the winner is 872. Who is 872?
Sounds familiar. 872.
That's you?
Yes.
You get the special prize.
And the special prize is 1 print from the from our collection of prints, of which you've already bought one.
Being the very fortunate person that already has one of those, I suggest that we draw another number.
Draw another number. I knew you would do that. Thank you so much for donating it back for another draw. And the number is 877.
There's something about 8/7 I don't like.
Yeah.
And I also have one.
Okay. You're going to be donating it back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm just going to get Loco Joe to do it again. It's a closer walk. 863. Who's 863? Nobody?
Oh, I've got one.
Love this. All right. Are you donating it back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I don't need anything to it.
Okay. 873. Go.
I don't think he has one.
And yeah.
He's bolted out of that shit. Yeah, it's would have been too late to trade the dust for it.
Yeah, really. And there you go, sir. Congratulations. All right. So, Mr. Lysing, would you come up as program manager for the division?
Yes, sir.
Would you introduce our guest clinician, please?
Mr. James Winebrenner of J&A Custom Trains. Is that right, James?
That's correct.
Yes. Who has years and years and years of experience in, amongst other things, hand laying track, some of the most craziest, complicated turnouts you can think of, crossovers, you name it, he's done it, and he's going to share some of his insights with us today.
Thanks, James. Take it away.
Okay, so I'll get started with myself. I'm James Winebrenner. I live just outside of Seattle, Washington. I started in model railroading when I was 5 years old. My uncle was in it. He got me one of those Athearn Jeep 35 chassis system little sets, and it just grown from there. Later in my life, I got interested in track building because I belonged to a model railroad club back where I used to live at, and they wanted hand laid turnouts, but not too many people would take on the endeavor to do that kind of work. So I made it progress to start learning. When I first started, yeah, it's a little difficult because you got to get the right blend of soldering and cutting the rails and things in that nature. There's all kinds of different techniques that people can use to hand lay track. Some people use just a file. Some people use like blocks that you can purchase online, things in that nature. If I'm making a lot of like a certain item, like a ON30 three-way or something like that, I'll get the blocks because it's a lot easier to do the points and get all the frogs and everything else filed down to what I need. It's a lot faster than using a little belt sander, because that's usually what I use for like custom projects. So let's see here if I can share a screen, if it lets me. Got to move things here. I don't know if I can share the screen or not. Because I do got a PowerPoint that I put together with some pictures and things in that nature, but because it's saying the host has disabled the screen sharing. So we'll just go with the other way. It's an art that you gotta get into. It's not easy by any means to get started into hand laying. A lot of people get frustrated with it and they just give up on it. The best thing that I can sit there and say from somebody that's been doing it for 20 plus years is just keep practicing at it. Using a soldering gun, you got to master that thing. Welders, adjustable temperature soldering gun works wonders if you can use one, or if you have one, because that's what I use. So I can adjust the temperature on different things that I'm doing. If I'm building a signal mask or hand laying track or whatever I might be doing, I can adjust the temperature on what I want to the heat and everything else. Having good flux is a big key, because you gotta, especially if you're gonna use like a PC board type thing of that nature. You want to make sure it's up underneath there. I think I got an echo. Other than that, without being able to share, I don't know what else you guys might like to know. I'll take any questions. You have any?
James?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen jigs for doing hand laid track work and turnouts. Is that a good tool to use, or do they not make such great products where you're better off doing it strictly by hand?
No, if you're going to build a large quantity of turnouts, because I use the fast tracks jigs because it's just so much easier. It's so hard to, and like I build maybe 20, 30 switches a month in the spare time because I work a separate job, and I just do this as a little hobby to keep myself busy, along with building a model railroad and all that stuff. So it's a lot faster if you use a template, and the blocks that you can get from Tim there at Fast Tracks or Oak Hill Models, Jeff Otto, he hand lays track too, and they sell templates, things in that nature. But when you get into the more complicated diamonds and different things that people are wanting, like having a double crossover with a three-way coming out of the one side or something in that nature, or having two double splits put together, you're pretty much stuck just hand laying that thing. And the best thing is working like with me, like I work with people all around the world. I just sent something off to Australia a couple weeks ago. He just sends me a template of what he is looking for, and I just build it to scale to what he wants. And then when he gets it, it's just a drop and fit. He doesn't even have to do anything. He just gives me the lengths of the rail that he's needing on the outsides that he's going to hook to his main line or his siding or whatever he's hooking it to. And I build it to that. I just use the NMRA ruler, and I just measure everything out in feet. So, because I don't like using measuring tapes or things in that nature, because every measuring tape is going to be different. You're going to be off. And if somebody wants something that's a drop and play, I like it to fit perfectly whenever they get it.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What type of solder do you use? And when you say varying temperatures, what, like I have a 40-watt iron, is that sufficient?
Yeah, that's sufficient. You can use something in that nature, but like mine's set up to do a lot of different things. Like I'll build custom signal masses for people, things in that nature. So I want to be able to adjust my temperature on what I'm doing. I don't want it to just have one temperature and one temperature only, especially if you're getting into like DCC sound, things in that nature. You want to make sure you got the electronic grade flux and the solder, and you want to be able to adjust your temperature so you make sure that you're not heating up something you're not supposed to on that circuit board.
All right. Any other questions? None? Okay. What else do you have? Do you have some of your custom painted stuff, James, that you can show us real quick?
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't know if I can share the screen or not.
David, do you have the share option available? Now go over to the arrow up. No, yeah, I gotta fill out that arrow up, advanced sharing, and all participants. Nope. Well, one participant at a time. Yes, back up one more. Up there, and then down. There you go. And there. Okay, now you can share. Go ahead. It is strong.
Okay, so I'll get into this right here. This is my own personal website that I've been working on for the last couple years, so people can get a hold of me, because I sell usually on eBay, but I'm trying to get away from eBay and do my own site, things in that nature. So you can see right there, you got a TOFC flat car that I did for a gentleman back in Florida. He sent me a picture. He sent me the cars and trailers, and I just match it to the photo types. That's mostly airbrushed with an airbrush. I use a Pache airbrush, and I'll use different pressures whenever I'm doing certain things. There's powders on it, oil paints, and every time that I do a layer on a freight car or the locomotive, because I don't do too many of them, because I usually don't have a lot of time to do a freight car or a locomotive, because something like that will take weeks to get it to what they're looking for. Unless you're just looking for a little light weathering, then you can do that within a day or two. Let's see, here's some of the other stuff that I've done. There's a custom turnout that Mike came across whenever he called me about some ON switches that he was wanting. That's a custom project that I did for a good gentleman in Louisiana. It's a 90-degree. They're on the bottom right. And then you got a 30-degree crossing. And then you got about an 86-degree crossing there at the very bottom right that you can see. And it's all one piece. And it's custom fit to what he's wanting to do. So when he got it, he just dropped it in and put the rail joiners to it, and he was done and ready to go.
Nice. I don't want to be the person that has to wire that, though. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they do get a little pricey. Because that project there was probably about 30 days worth of work to get
No,
that.
I'm talking about wiring it electrically. I don't want to have to wire it electrically. That's where dead rail is a nice thing, right?
Correct. Everything is all DCC friendly. Everything is gapped to where there would be no shorts. I use a voltmeter before I ship it, and I have a little test bed down in my garage where I build all my stuff, and I put power to it, and I test it and make sure before I ship it, or before I even put the ties on it, that there's no dead shorts. Cool. I'll gap everything and everything else. Now, this gentleman here was using electric locomotives, so it's not normal DCC like everybody else uses. He's just using electric, so there's no gaps in it.
So, James, since we've got the international president on the call with us, I can't let it slip by and not ask you. You are a member of the NMRA, right?
I did send in my paperwork to join, yes.
When was that?
About 2 days ago.
It was since you and I talked, right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Welcome. We're glad you're going to join the organization. Thanks for what else do you have before we wrap up, James?
There's one of the new scale trains, ES44s, that they came out here with recently, all done up with weathered powders. All the grills and see-through grills and everything is all airbrushed with black paint. I don't do a lot of painting with a paintbrush. I like using an airbrush because I can get it a lot finer and I can make it look exactly like what I want it to look at without spending a lot of extra time with it.
That's good work. It really does look good. So you need to before you ship some of this stuff, you need to have it looked at on the achievement program, because I'm seeing some models there that would definitely merit if you were to add. I mean, I know some of these scale train stuff come with all the details already on them, but if you had something that was a blue box that you super detailed and painted like that, I'm seeing motive power definitely in your future there. So good work.
Correct. And then I'll just go here to the PowerPoint that, let's see here if I can get to it. Let's see here. Figure out how to get back to it now since I'm on that screen. I don't know. Can you guys see that now?
But we still see, you gotta unshare and reshare.
Let's see here. Stop sharing. There we go. Share. And here we are. So this is a little PowerPoint that I put together. That's part of the Feather River Canyon that I'm working on my layout. So a lot of the aspects of that is going to be on my railroad. So I spend a lot of time going to California, taking photos, getting dirt, rock, things in that nature, because I don't really buy a whole lot of pre-made stuff. I make it myself. The next slide, you can start seeing where I started working on that gentleman's custom turnout. That's a track diagram that I just printed off online. You can print them off online. Now, some of them I'll make. And I was getting all the angles cut and everything else to start putting that together. Right here is a custom built number three-way that I sell a ton of them. This gentleman wanted the fast track wooden ties on it. Usually I cut my own ties. I just get a poplar or a pine, 1x something, and I'll spend a day or two just ripping ties. And I'll space them to where they need to be spaced. All the gaps are cut. The frogs are all needle point. And I also add a wire to the frogs. So whenever who gets them, all they got to do is drill a hole, drop the wire, and hook it up to whatever they are going to be using it for. Here's one that just shipped here not too long ago. It is a number 6 double crossover. So I kind of did a different view on this one, so you guys can actually look at the points. So the points are very thin. I don't use a lot of solder. You don't need to use a lot of solder. Everybody thinks that you got to pile the solder on there. You don't. I just barely touch the soldering iron to the solder to get just a little bit on. I take my PC board ties. After I cut them, I sand them with a sand or a metal file or something like that. So when I start building these things, they're nice and clean. There's no oil from my fingers or anything, because I'll use rubber gloves and things in that nature. And once I put the flux to it and put the rail on it, that solder will just slide right up underneath that rail. And once it's on there, it's not going to go anywhere. One of the biggest problems that I do have is the throw bar. They don't like to stay in shipping, things in that nature. So I do add a little extra solder to the throw bar so it does hold and things in that nature, because shipping something like that is a little difficult, especially if it's going international. Ties like to come off, things in that nature, but it's just a quick, simple super glue. I use plyo bond most of the time, but do the postage and all that, you kind of get a little rough handling. I like doing it, and just because like on my railroad, I glue all my ties down first, and then I take a stainless steel brush that you can buy off of eBay or any hardware store, something small, and I'll scribe the ties. So you very big on photos. So here's something that's not too far from where I live at. So I'll go out and get track diagrams and track pictures and things in that nature where you can see all the track detail. Because a lot of people, they detail their locomotives, their freight cars, weather them up really good and all that, but your railroad's still naked because you didn't pay attention to the weathering and the detail that you need to for the track. In this picture, the one on the left, that's a model. That's not real. That's a model. I'll take the ties, and the fast track jigs are wonderful. Put the ties in there, take a wooden file, and you can scribe them little holes where the tie plates go to make them look like they're rotting away, things in that nature. Or use a knife to put the gouges in the ties, and don't be afraid to chip a piece off. Like mine look exactly like the real railroad does. They're not perfectly aligned, straight, or anything in that nature because they don't stay that way. So usually what I'll do, I'll spray paint the whole thing with just spray paint that you can get from a hardware store. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head, but
either Rust-Oleum or Krylon or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I've seen them in different forums and things in that nature on Facebook groups and stuff like that that people use. You can use either one. Both of them are a good starter base. And then I'll add the powders to it. And if I want it to look like a brand new tie, I'll still spray it. But then I take a black Sharpie and go over it. Like you can see some of them ties look like they're brand new ties. And then some of the other ones are really weathered. And if I want it to get like a good yard scene, after I spray it, I'll sand it again. Take some 2000 grit sandpaper, sand the ties back down again, just so you're taking off a thin layer and getting marks and grooves and things in that nature. But you got to work with the grain of the wood. The picture on the right is some of the switches that you can see that are on my layout. I pre-build them, and then I sit them in place until I have time to go through and actually put the ties to it, the tie plates, the rail anchors, all the switch detail that you would see on a real switch will be on my switches, especially the ones that you can see. Now, the ones that you can't see, like in staging or things in that nature, or real up high, like some of that stuff is 6 feet high. That's coming up top of my helix. I got a single track helix at the bottom, turns into a double track helix up at the top. So the one on the right where the signal is, I'm hoping you guys can see that because that's the one coming up from out of the main yard. And then it loops around the whole layout. It's all double decked layout. And then it comes out where that Union Pacific SD90 is coming around the bend. There's a passing siding there. Then here's another one that's down underneath. That complex turnout that you see there, other than the micro engineering concrete flex track, is all one piece. So that piece is probably about 8 feet long from that curved turnout all the way down at the far end by where that locomotive is there on the left-hand side. It's all one great big piece because it's all ladders that's going into an industrial spur, things in that nature. The stuff on the right is where locomotives will be stored and freight cars will be stored for an industry behind where all them boxes are. And on the far right-hand side is where my engine terminal is going to be, which will be in the next slide. So there's part of the engine terminal. It's about 10 feet long. And everything will be hand laid. That's that template that I took a picture of so I can post it online for the gentleman before I shipped it. A lot of it's just pre-planning. Like I've spent 10 years working on my railroad and there's not a drop of scenery on it yet. So it just depends on how detailed you are wanting your railroad to be, or how real life you want it to be. Me, I want it to look like where when somebody comes over, and I got the Williams loop on there because one of my sons, his name's William. He wanted the Williams loop put on there. So we're going to model it right to scale. Now there's going to be a little bit of difference to it, things in that nature, just because of the room that I had and things in that nature. But I've been there, taking pictures of the tunnel portal, where the signals are, where the milepost markers are, and any other little mark that I could find on the ties or anything, the graffiti that are on the drawing and the shaving that they did to the tunnel portal lining to allow double stacks over the Feather River. So all that will be modeled, but it just takes time. I'd love to be able to spend more time just working on mine, but I love building too. And all
James,
the building.
I hate to cut you short, but I need to give you a little bit of time to wrap up here. we've got our hot dog lunch, and the cook is giving me the high sign that our food is starting to get cold out here, so I need to.
Nope, that's perfectly fine because that's the last slide that I had.
Wow, what a deal. That worked out, didn't it? All right. Anybody have any other questions for James before we turn him loose?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. You did a good job.
You're welcome.
And your website is J&A CustomTrains.com?
Correct. And
All right.
my contact information's there. A lot of the stuff that I can build pretty quickly, like regular turnouts, things in that nature. I've slowly been surely putting them online. Different things that I can get for people, things in that nature, DCC supplies. I don't think I got very many sound decoders on there yet, but I've been working with George there at Soundtracks to get a lot of stuff. So if somebody wants a sound equipped locomotive done, I can get it.
He's coming to town with for that RPM meeting. He's going to be there with all the soundtrack stuff here right down the street from us next in 2 weeks. So yeah,
perfect.
In fact, he used to live here in Fort Worth. I don't know if you knew that or not, but he does.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, thanks again, James. Thanks, Gordy, for joining us. Thanks, everybody who joined us online. Hey, Jim Archer, I see you there now. Welcome. Good to see you. Daryl Cowles is fixing to be logging in from where he is on to the regional board meeting, I think. Right, Daryl? All right. Good deal. Tell everybody I said hello. Unfortunately, I've got some other duties right here, if you don't mind taking care of that for me. Want to thank everybody for joining us today. Hot dogs are available in the kitchen. Go all the way to the back. No. What?
I got enough hot dogs for everybody. Have about 6.
Sweet.
So, stop here, grab a plate, grab as many buns as you think you're going to eat. Log in, come on out, and we'll load you up.
Okay, very good. Follow the cook's orders. Thanks, guys, for coming. Walk around, enjoy Open Run, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.